even closer into the plateau as well. That's what we were seeing with those first couple of storms as they've worked their way into the area. Everybody that's south of I-40 has not seen anywhere near as much action. A lot of these storms have been coming out of the north for this first round, making their way in out of the northwest, and are continuing and they're trying to push their way to the southeast. So the system as a whole is moving almost directly east. Individual storms have their own orientation that is angling them further down towards the southeast. Rebecca, you got something to share with us?
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about some of the hail that we have moving into the area. So this is some of the hail that we have shared to us from the Washburn community. And now keep in mind, this was one of those areas where we particularly started to see some of those very gusty winds. That was the moment 𝕻𝖆𝖌𝖊𝖊𝖊𝖕 looked at me and he goes, this storm has 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts and up to golf ball size hail. And so we're really starting to get the representation of just how large some of this hail is. I do want to remind you, Glenda, this is a beautiful photo and we are so appreciative of all these photos.
Oh, wow.
If you guys can take a picture and try and compare it next to a size, that's going to give us a perfect representation of just how large some of this hail is. When we're talking about the impacts of some of these storms today, folks, these storms that continue to slide through, not even as to what's going to be happening at this moment, but what is going to be happening later on today. So you gotta love it, folks. We're going to be watching the potential for some very strong storms making their way into the area overnight tonight. So the impacts that we're seeing right now go right along with what we're expecting. We're going to continue to see some very strong gusty winds. We've already had reports of seeing 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts, heavy rain. A lot of these storms are going to bring in some of those torrential downpours, so much so that the ground is not going to have enough time to saturate all of that moisture, and so that is going to lead to some localized flooding. We are going to be looking at the potential for some very large hail, and we've already had a glimpse of that with some areas getting the opportunity of seeing over quarter-size hail. And then we're going to continue to watch the possibility for seeing some of those isolated tornadoes. Again, with that tornado warning that we did have an effect for Granger and Hamblen counties, they will have to, again, get a crew out there and assess if we did have any potential damage, what could have potentially been the size of that storm that did make its way through the area. Again, this is all going to be coming from the National Weather Service. They won't have to travel far, though, because that severe thunderstorm warning that was capable of producing a tornado, and that tornado warning was right around their area. Big picture point of view, just kind of recapping where we're at this current moment. We do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, but a lot of these storms are very strong. We're watching these cluster of storms continuing to slide their way from northwest to southeast, and each one of these storms has the potential of bringing in some very gusty winds, looking at the opportunity for some heavy rain. In addition to that, we're watching some large hail, and there is that opportunity for some broad rotation. Now that we quickly talked about what's going on, let's talk a little bit more about what our futurecast model is showing for the rest of the day. We have this cluster of storms that's moving through right now. I'm not going to lie, this model in particular kind of initialized what was happening at this moment a little bit better earlier, but I like what it is showing later on today. We watch this cluster of storms. It starts to really take over most of the Central Valley as we go into the afternoon hours. So we're talking within the next hour or two, we're going to be dealing with these very strong storms. This is what I'm a little nervous about, folks, because we're going to have one round of storms that's going to move through.
This is round 1.
See that break from the rain, maybe around the time frame that you're picking up your kiddos from school, you're heading home from work, you're thinking, oh, that round of rain was done and we had great showers and thunderstorms and the rest of the day is over. Not necessarily going to be the case. In fact, we're watching the chance for even stronger storms that will potentially move in tonight. We'll watch our second round start to slide in as we get closer to around dinner time tonight, and look at this model run. I'm going to be honest, it tends to get a little over aggressive, a little excited, but you notice it brings in another round of some very strong storms. A few things I want you to look at right now. Timing of these storms will likely be after sunset, so these are going to be nocturnal storms when a lot of people are wanting to go to bed. Make sure if you are going to bed tonight that you have your alerts turned on your phone, you have your devices charged. Plug in your phones right now in case you do lose power. With this being said, check out this futurecast model so you notice it has a little bit more of a bowing effect. With that bowing effect that we can get with some of these storms, this can lead to very strong straight line damaging winds. And we can hear some of those storms again continuing to push their way into our area here in North Knoxville. With those strong straight line damaging winds,
yeah, it's about dime-sized hail.
Over 70 miles an hour. and this is where we do have the potential for seeing widespread power outages and the opportunity for some damage.
About
In addition to
downside.
talking about gusty winds, this is going to be paired up along with some frequent lightning. It's going to be paired up with some large hail, and yes, there is even some storms tonight that could have some possible rotation. The one part of this model that I don't necessarily agree with is just how much rain is going to be lingering behind as we go into the overnight hours. I still expect to see some of those showers and thunderstorms as we go throughout the night tonight, but this just really starts to broaden it out, and I do think that it's going to kind of make its way out of the area a little bit faster than what this model is showing, and as the actual cold front moves through, we will continue to see another opportunity for some spotty showers and thunderstorms come tomorrow. So this is kind of a quick recap as to where we're at right now. We do not have that severe thunderstorm warning, which is great news for the Knox County area. They actually, I believe, if we can get this from
They're
the
saying
National
this
Weather
is
Service,
just
I'm gonna
round
check this
one.
out really quick, Tavian. I think they actually let that warning. They canceled it. So they canceled that severe thunderstorm warning for Granger, Jefferson, Knox, and Union counties. Great news. And we do have that one more warning that is still in effect. That's going to be in effect for Northeast Tennessee. Tavian, do you have some information for us?
For a second, just because I wanted to give you a look over our downtown camera just to really show you how these storms have begun to take over the area. You can see this little sliver of light that's left over in the distance, but we've watched